So in this video, I am going to draw and show you some pictures of how I feel the universe and our Earth actually looks. Now, you have to keep in mind that we are not allowed to freely explore our Earth. No one's allowed below the 60th parallel, and nobody is allowed to freely explore the North Pole or Antarctica. And I'll show you on the map where the 60th parallel will be, not on a globe, because it's a circle. Okay, now, I'm going to include this portion of this video in two videos. This first one here is for Artificial Reality 4, because I'm going to draw the Earth, and I'm going to continue to draw what the Matrix looks like, and I have a little bit of new information since the last time I've done this, and I don't think I did very in depth on the Earth. But it's hard for people to envision when you say flat Earth, which I hate that name. It should be, we've figured out the globe is not accurate. We know the globe's a psyop. We know the globe is nonsense. I don't proclaim to know what the shape of the Earth is, and most of us don't. We just know that it's not a globe by certain things. And so my second video is more reasons the globe is nonsense. I've done a video on that before, but I've come up with like 20 more reasons, so I'd like to do that. All right, so first we're going to start with the side view, I think, of the Earth. Now, okay, so we are in a toroidal field that is held together by our consciousness, our collective consciousness, okay? Okay. This is the toroidal field, and it is an electromagnetic toroidal field. I am going to link a video that a girl does. She's one of my Facebook friends, and she does a really good explanation on the electromagnetic reaction and why and how it looks like this. Okay, so then here we are in this bubble. Now, you've got land, okay? So land, you know, it comes up and whatever, it goes down. And then we don't know how far it goes down. The furthest dug down ever is like 8 miles. Okay. Then you have water. Water always seeks its level, which means we got to be in a container of some kind. Okay? Now, the center of our Earth plane is the North Pole. That's why all compasses point north, and I'll show you on the aerial view how that works. Okay, which it makes no sense on the globe, but it makes perfect sense on... Okay, so here's the North Pole, and Polaris, the star, is right over top of it, and star trails go around Polaris. Polaris never moves. All the stars go around. Okay, which is also would not happen on a globe. Now, when people talk about inner Earth, like, see, this is the land, this is our surface, and then this would be underground. This down here, this would be inner Earth. And there are purported civilizations under the Earth, and I feel that that's accurate. The furthest down ever dug was 8 miles, and that was in Russia, and they just dug straight down and purportedly heard screaming, but that does not necessarily mean that they found hell. They could have found a terrible underground society. I don't know. As far as hell and all that goes, that's not exactly how it works. I'm not saying that there aren't more terrible realms than here, but this may be one of the 5 hell realms. Okay, now, So this is the North Pole. So people say, where's the sun? Where's the stars? Okay, so the stars are fixed in the firmament. Like this is a dome. Now there could be multiple domes inside of domes. There is a good theory that you should look up called the cosmic egg theory by Martin Kinney. He uses all ancient texts to come up with that, with his theory. It's very good. It's very thorough, and he does have domes, or multiple domes in it. And then it is also called, that same theory was done by someone else, and in a computer-generated version, and I can't remember that guy's name, but it's called the Norb theory. Okay, and the cosmic egg theory, Martin Kinney. Okay, but I'm just for simplicity's sake, let's just, you know. All right. So the sun is under the dome. Most likely, it could be affixed to the dome. I'm not certain about that, but it most likely is under. And then the moon is also under. So this is your moon. Here's your sun. Okay, and they circle around under here. That'll make more sense on the aerial version. Okay, so this is, and then the stars are fixed in the dome and they circle around. And then one half is daylight, one half is night. I feel that daylight is separate than sunlight, and the Bible does indicate that in the very first chapter, like the first few verses. Okay, so this is the side view. Now, did I cover everything on here? Oh, and then outside of this, okay, would be like plasma or some kind of liquid. You know, the Bible says waters from waters, but I feel outside here is plasma. And that this toroidal field may actually move through the fluid. I mean, that's where they're saying we're moving. And this is how they're saying we're a sphere. But, I mean, but it's not at all like you think. Okay. Now, and then there are a bunch of Greek experiments, but all those proved was that Earth was round, not that it was a sphere. I'm proposing it's round. Okay. Now, I actually feel it goes on. Now, the side view, I have a picture here that I got off the... Okay. I got the... Okay, so here's like a side view, like what I just drew. Now, let's see. Can I get this? Sometimes if you get it real close. What the... All right, that's too bright. Let me see. Let me turn down the screen. Okay, that's a little better. Here. I can turn it down a little bit more. Sorry. I didn't try this before. Okay, so see, this is the side view there. And that's another one. Okay. And... now, the aerial view is like this. This is the UN flag, by the way. Okay, so we're going to deal with the aerial view next. I'll show you the other aerial view. Okay, this is called the azimuthal equidistant map. And there are problems with it, okay? But, you know, we aren't allowed to freely explore. In all ancient cosmology... there were continents around the North Pole here, ancient maps. And as you see here, there's Canada, Asia. See, that land, I guarantee you, is still there. And then here is another. Okay, this shows, this is an ancient map with Hyperborea. And it has Atlantis and things on it. That's a, I don't know. this is a Navy map. And then here is the Gleason's New Standard Map of the World, which was the standard map that they started using in 1893. Flat Earth was taught in American schools until 1951. Okay, so the aerial view here. So we're doing this. Okay, so you've got, you know, we're here, we're in our toroidal field. Now, there is purportedly an ice wall. Now, others allege there are other lands out here, and that may be so. The dome may be bigger than what I'm, you know, I don't know. But so we got the ice wall here, okay? In the center, we got the North Pole. All right. So then you're going to draw, let's see, we got, okay, let's see, we got Asia and Europe. And then Africa's going to be under here. Oh, it's like India and stuff. And then like Southeast Asia, Australia. Okay. Then we're going to have the U.S. and Canada right here. And then it comes down. And then we got South America. Well, my drawings aren't perfect here. But there's one little piece of this ice wall, okay, that people can tour. There's one little piece of Antarctica that juts out by South America, near South America, in Antarctica. One can tour. But these are 100% guided tours. And the same thing with the North Pole. You cannot freely explore the North Pole. There are guided tours. There are actually like 3 North Poles or something. All right, so here is the land, okay? So we got Australia and stuff down here. Okay, so, and then you got the water. Water. Okay. Now, the 60th parallel is, and I've drawn this really bad, but let's say, okay, so there's like the ice wall. Okay, we'll make the ice wall a lot narrower here. And then let's say my first blue line that I had originally, the 60th parallel is like right here. This, like it's this circle. And it goes, you know, you cannot freely explore past the 60th parallel. No one can. Without getting a presence on you real quick. Military presence. So because of that, we can't really draw, you know, an accurate map. It makes the world harder. I mean, it can be circumvented, but I mean, you know, because you can circumvent it the same way that you would a globe. You know, any circle can be circumvented. Nobody's saying the Earth isn't round, just it's not a sphere. Okay, now, the seasons. All right, so what happens is the sun, there's a Tropic of Cancer and a Tropic of Capricorn, okay? Okay, so if you can see here, okay, this is the southern hemisphere. See, down here, this is the southern hemisphere, this is the northern hemisphere, and it works the same way, okay? And the sun spirals in and out between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn over the year. And that's what causes the seasons, okay? And that's why when it's, the sun's, you know, when it's winter here, it's summer here because the sun's out here. And these lands aren't getting warm. So, you know, the sun's not providing as much heat as I think as people think it does. Okay, and so then, you know, purportedly we got the ice wall. Now, I'm not entirely certain that Antarctica may not be its own separate island that is protected, and then the 60th parallel thing protects the ice wall, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, and so then the stars are in, you know, so half of this would be day, half would be night. The stars are in that part, and they rotate around. The sky moves around us. We are not spinning. The reason you do not feel yourself spinning is because you are not spinning. Two things I forgot in this presentation here are, people ask about the planets. What about the planets? Okay, well, the planets are, they're like wandering stars. They're under the dome and not affixed, and they also go in different circles. This cosmic egg theory goes into the fact that they could be in separate domes, but we can still see them. We could be in domes inside domes. And has to do with some of the ancient texts as to how he came up with this theory. And it's really good, and I did link the thing. And then I wanted to show you how a compass always points north, okay, to the North Pole. This is why this works. And there is allegedly a magnetic mountain and a center vortex here. The mountain's been called Mount Olympus, Mount Meru. There are other names, but I can't think of them at the time. And there's a center vortex. And most likely it's those things that do the tides, not the moon. Why do lakes and other bodies of water not have tides, only oceans? It's most likely so it has something to do with the vortex and how that moves. It could be something totally different, who knows? It's not the moon. Okay, so if you're, say here, this is North America, if you're going north, you're going to end up, if you keep going north, you're going that way, to the North Pole. If you're in Australia and you keep going north, you're going to end up at the North Pole. If you're in Asia and you keep going north, you're going to end up at the North Pole. If you're in Africa and Europe, keep going north, you're going to end up at the North Pole. That's how that works, okay? And it makes no sense on a globe. Hi. So, now we're talking about more reasons the globe is nonsense. And we just had 15 minutes of a video. So, I'll try to make this as fast as I can, but there's quite a few reasons. Corpuscular rays of the sun actually prove that the sun is close. Mathematically, it is impossible for the angles of the sun's rays to be 93 million miles away. This is easily verifiable and simple geometry. Tracing the angle of the sun's rays back to their source above the clouds proves that the sun is not millions of miles away. There are thousands of pictures showing how sunlight comes down through cloud cover at a variance of angles. The area of convergence is, of course, the sun, and is clearly not millions of miles away, but rather relatively close to the earth and slightly above the clouds. One argument globe defenders present is that the earth is so big we can't tell it's curved. Well, there are problems with this. One problem is NASA gives us a formula that alleges there's 8 inches squared of curvature every mile. Another reason is the earth is too big excuse is nonsense. It's because the earth can be observed and measured aerially. Earth is much smaller than we're told, actually, and distance and the size of the earth is a whole other deception. One intention of this lie is to make the U.S. look much bigger than what it is, and I can cover the distance scam another day. Why are we not allowed to freely explore our world? Regular citizens are not allowed to tour below the 60th parallel in any direction, nor are they allowed to freely explore the North Pole or Antarctica. The North Pole and Antarctica can be visited, but only for controlled and 100% guided tours. And there are multiple North Poles, actually. I think 3. Why do all compasses point north? Now, I've already shown that in the video, and that makes no sense on a flat plane. The horizon always appears perfectly flat regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage shows a completely flat horizon over 20 miles high. Only NASA and other government agencies show curvature in their faked photos and videos. The horizon always rises to the eye level of the observer, so as you go up in altitude, so you never have to look down to see it. And if Earth were a globe, it would not behave that way. And the word horizon, actually, you know, horizontal, it means straight line. The natural behavior of water is to find and maintain its level. Not one body of water displays curvature. Only a droplet of water can curve, not a body of water. Yet on the photo of a globe, huge segments of the ocean have to be curved. Look at your globe. Look at a picture of the globe. Now, if Earth were actually a giant sphere hurling through space in several different directions, the consistently level surfaces, they would not exist here. Earth resembles an extended flat plane. And the physical property of fluids finding and remaining level is consistent with experience, experimentation, common sense, logic. It must be in some kind of container. And a ball is not a container. If you can catch a small child at about 4 or 5 years old before the indoctrination by the school system has begun, ask them what they think their Earth is. And they will not tell you it's a hurling, spinning ball. Trust me. There are 0 pictures or photographs from NASA. In order for an image to be named a photograph, or a picture, it has to be directly taken by a camera. Everything on the NASA website is a labeled image, which is a composite image. That means none of these photos were snapped directly with a camera. So, like, you supposedly went on all these missions, but you had to use composite imagery. That don't make no sense. Okay? You didn't, I mean, even like if they videoed it, you can still frame. I mean, you can do split-second imaging. That makes no sense as to why they would have to use composite imagery if they were actually in these vehicles flying by these things. No sense. Okay, and you can check the NASA website. You won't find that they use the word photograph or picture. And professional photo analysts have dissected several NASA images of the ball Earth and found undeniable proof of computer editing. You know, there have been evidence by rectangular cuts found in the black background around the Earth when you're talking about the moon. You know, and if they were truly on the moon and Earth were actually a ball, there would be no need to fake such photos. And they're talking about the pictures where the moon, like, I'm talking about the pictures where, like, they were supposedly on the moon, but the Earth is in the background. Yeah, I mean, the Earth is clearly photoshopped in. When NASA's images of Earth are compared with one another, the coloration of the land and the oceans and the relative size of the continents are so drastically different, it seems, you know, just beyond reasonable doubt that they're fake. And they really are. If you go to the NASA website and just look at the disparity. And it's not just because they're further away and stuff. You really need to look at those photos. It's, you know, in some of them, Africa is huge. In others, it's tiny. In some, the North America is enormous. In others, it's tiny. But then if you look at the other land in it, it's the same. You got to look at them. You got to examine them. Now, there is 0 curvature accounted for when constructing things such as the Panama, Suez canals, countless miles of railway systems, highways, tunnels, and bridges across the world. Nobody ever accounts for curvature. There was an experiment called the Michelson-Morley experiment, and there was also a Sagnac experiment, and they attempted to measure the change in speed of light due to Earth's assumed motion through space. And they measured in every possible different direction in various locations, and they failed to detect any significant change whatsoever, again proving that the Earth was stationary. If the Earth were truly spinning at over 1,000 miles an hour, helicopters and hot air balloons should be able to simply hover over the surface of the Earth and wait for the destinations to come to them. Yet a helicopter can hover in the same place for hours, and the alleged spinning ground has not moved not 1 inch, and you haven't had to move that helicopter. It's not spinning. If gravity is credited with being a force strong enough to hold all the world's matter, oceans, buildings, people, even the atmosphere, to the surface of a rapidly spinning ball, then it's also impossible for gravity to be weak enough to allow little birds and bugs to fly and planes to take off and bubbles and feathers to freely float and for me to easily move with no resistance from this gravitational force. And it's also being credited with as being a force strong enough to curve the massive expanses of ocean. But it would be hard for, fish and stuff to swim in such curved water. And wouldn't it have effects on other bodies of water if it would... gravity has never been proven, guys. It's not provable. The closest thing is called incoherent dielectric acceleration. Okay, I'll be done here soon. Okay, so now on a globe, Johannesburg, South Africa to Perth, Australia should be a straight shot over the Indian Ocean and with refueling possibilities in, say, Madagascar. But however, most Perth flights, Johannesburg to Perth flights, stop over Dubai, Hong Kong, or Malaysia, which make no sense. And there are no flight patterns that are designed to go over the South Pole. Okay, here we've got, so Johannesburg to Perth, it should be, oh crap. Hold on. Okay, it should be a straight shot, Johannesburg to Perth. You should just, boom, and you could refuel right here, Madagascar. There might even be an island or something here. But instead, they do this, okay? But on a flat ball, it makes sense to go stop in Dubai, because then they go through Perth. It's actually much further. And no flights go across the South Pole, even though it would take hours off of some flights. Now, it's possible to see the Chicago skyline from 60 miles away across Lake Michigan. I have seen it. And then in 2015, photographer Joshua Nowicki photographed this phenomenon, and he sent it to several news channels. I remember this. And they claimed it to be a superior mirage instead of like the actual buildings. While mirages certainly do occur, the skyline in question was facing right side up and clearly seen, unlike a hazy mirage. And on a globe, there would be 2,400 feet of curvature. So, that's half a mile. So, yeah. Okay. But there's nothing. You can see straight across. The distance from which various lighthouse lights around the world are visible at sea exceeds what could be found on a ball Earth. Let's see. There is the Port Nicholson lighthouse in New Zealand that's 420 feet above sea level and visible 35 miles away, where it should be 220 feet below the horizon. The Light of Madras on the Esplanade is 132 feet high and visible from 28 miles away, where it should be 250 feet below the line of sight. I got this thing about the lighthouses from Eric Dubay's 200 Proofs, and I'll post that. Okay, and I also got this one from it too. I just, I'd already listed some of these points, but why rename the whole thing? Or why rewrite the whole thing? But I want to give them credit for these. Okay, NASA and modern astronomy say the Earth is a giant ball, tilted, wobbling, and spinning 1,000 miles per hour around its central axis, traveling in 67,000 mile per hour circles around the sun, spiraling 500,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way, while the entire galaxy rockets at a ridiculous 670 million miles per hour through the universe. with all of these motions originating from an alleged Big Bang cosmogenic explosion around 14 billion years ago. That is a grand total of 670,568 miles an hour in several different directions. We're all supposedly speeding along, yet no one has ever seen, felt, heard, measured, or proven a single one of these motions to exist whatsoever. Now, speaking of the Big Bang, we got entropy in the Big Bang. Now, completely opposite of one another. Entropy states that this universe goes towards destruction, not creation. Okay, so if you break a clay pot, over time that pot's going to break down. It's going to break down into smaller pieces, and then smaller pieces, eventually dust. That pot is not going to go back together. Okay? Yet the Big Bang alleges that everything was created from random atoms smashing together. These intricate systems that we have. I mean, the human eyeball is a miracle. But yet, that, you know, and we're supposed to be this random nothing when there's intelligent design absolutely everywhere. It's clearly a created and controlled system. So the Big Bang is nonsense to make us feel insignificant and unimportant rather than the controlled and heavily monitored creation we are. Okay, so when you view it from a globe, Polaris is right over the North Pole, and that should not be visible anywhere in the southern hemisphere. But for someone at the South Pole to see it, or near the South Pole to see it, you would have to literally be looking through the globe. I mean, given the curvature, but polars can be seen, however, up to over 20 degrees south latitude. So, okay. The fact that the sun and moon's reflections on water always form a straight line path from the horizon to the observer proves that the earth is not a ball. If Earth's surface was curved, it would be impossible for the reflected light to curve over the ball from horizon to observer. Okay, and then some people claim to have seen the curvature out of their airplane windows. However, in commercial airplanes, the glass is curved. Fly in a private plane, it's very different. This creates a slight effect mixed with confirmation bias that people mistake for being alleged curvature, and it's not. In actuality, you can see the horizon at eye level, 35,000 feet. The fact that you can see that out of both the port and starboard windows prove that the earth is flat. If the earth were a ball, no matter how big, the horizon would stay exactly where it was, and you would have to look down further and further to see the horizon at all. Looking straight out the window, at 35,000 feet, you should see nothing but outer space. As the earth and horizon are supposedly below you, if they are visible at eye level outside both windows, it's because the earth is a plane. Okay, an airplane. I mean, they fly in the air over the plane. Our words really do have huge meaning. Okay, and NASA and other space agencies have been caught time and time again with bubbles coming off their outer space images, like underwater bubbles. Astronauts have been caught in scuba gear, kicking legs to move. I mean, they're just clearly underwater. One of them actually drowned when water got in their space suit. They say they do that for training, but no, this is in real footage. You can see like bubbles coming off in alleged real space missions that they've aired. And there's one from 1983 where you can see the guy moving the little fake spaceship out of the way. Okay. NASA claims that someone can observe the ISS pass by, yet the ISS, seen through zoom cameras, proves it to be some type of hologram or a drone, not a physical floating space base. In Eric Dubé's documentary, The ISS Hoax, you can see that when zooming in and out, the ISS dramatically and impossibly changes shape and color, displaying a rainbow effect until coming into focus, much like an old television turning on and off. Okay. And lastly, we have the fact that the Earth breaks the second law of thermodynamics, which states that anything next to a vacuum needs to be in a container. I mean, honestly, how is our atmosphere next to a vacuum and not being sucked off? Oh, gravity, but I can freely move and feathers can float. No. We got to be in a container if that's a vacuum out there. I don't think it's vacuum out there. I think it's fluid. But plasma. The Bible says waters, but I think it's plasma. Okay, so that is more reasons that the globe is nonsense. And I probably won't be doing any more of these. I think I've named like 40 reasons now in my 2 videos. I tried not to duplicate any. I'm sure I did because I didn't go back and watch the other video. Appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. Have a great day.